Next speaker, here. You can take the microphone. Yeah, you introduce yourself.
Thank you. My name is TODOR MALCHEV, and I'm Professor Alexandrov's PhD student, and I'm here to present the topic of optimization of control parameters in cold nuclear fusion reactor, the deep learning surrogates. As you well know, AI is a concept of having a system that mimics human-like intelligence. Machine learning is, one could say, the bridge between the raw data and the actual intelligent behavior that we are aiming at. Also, as you probably well know, neural networks are inspired by the way human works, and that probably we are pattern recognition machines, but yeah. Example of the usage of AI in nuclear fusion is mainly in the hot nuclear fusion, but as well as in the linear field, which is evolving. One of the examples is Google DeepMind, that is using deep reinforcement learning to control plasma in real time. Also in the project ITER, where they're using the AI for diagnostics, modeling, and control system design. Also in the Livermore National Laboratory, and so on and so on. Why this matters? It matters because nuclear fusion promises clean, limitless energy. Sorry. And AI could help bring that promise into reality. The experiments performed in Dmitry Alexandrov's laboratory in Lakehead University, in Professor Dmitry Alexandrov, sorry. The data that we collect through the reactor is related to a few parameters like temperature, pressure, gas flow, and what of other more. So using neural networks to explore the relationship between the different factors and find the best of values that would give us the highest temperature yield is our primary goal, because we have between 100,000 and 200,000 lines of data that would represent, every line is a second, because the data is time-dependent, time-series data. We are also using generated synthetic data using time generative inversion network, that help us to enrich our data more, our data set. As I mentioned, the core objective of the subject is to find the ideal experimental configuration, the ideal initial parameters that would give us higher temperature yield. Of course, by leveraging something like digital twin approach. And that would eliminate the cost for trial and errors, and we could use these parameters to investigate and receive as much as possible higher temperature release. The challenges are that the experiments involve high-dimensional parameter space, and to be able to capture all of the dependencies by a human, it's difficult. And also, as we mentioned previously, trial and error is resource-intensive, costly, and so. Yeah, we have, like we mentioned, several input parameters, like pressure, temperature, gas flow, which we use injection of gas. So yeah, the injection timing is also very important. And our approach is using deep learning surrogate, train on historical and also simulated data time series data, use gradient-based optimization, and our final goal is to identify the optimal control parameters that would give us maximum temperature yield. We have a brief comparison between different models that could be used. For our approach, we are currently using LSTM, Log Short-Term Memory Network. We could use Transformer, but we don't have that much data, and yeah, it won't be appropriate for our use case. Also random forest, but again, leveraging neural networks would give us the ability to capture different relations in between the parameters involved. The framework we are using, it's related with data collection, surrogate training, inverse optimization, in the end, finding optimal parameters. So, as I previously mentioned, we are using real-life data between 100 and 2,000 seconds rows, which actually represent around 50 experiments, which of those experiments consist between 5 and 10 actual gas injections, so we could say actual reactions. That's why we are using GAN, Generative Adversarial Network, in our case, Time Generative Adversarial Network, that was trained on real historical data, and all together we can enrich our data set. Also, we are weighting the GAN differently than the real historical data that we have, because it's obviously our main source of truth. So surrogate training, our network maps input parameters to temperature, finding, like we mentioned, the higher temperature yield. We are using gradient descent on inputs to maximize yield. And again, retrieve optimal parameters to get maximum energy, temperature yield. Log short-term memory networks gets gradual continuous change in thermodynamic state of the reactor, unlike the transformers that could produce physically impossible non-sequential parameters and so on. Laboratory datasets are relatively small. They're not so small, but those kind of networks need more data. Are small but high fidelity. LSTMs have stronger inductive bias for finding temporal patterns, generalizing better on small batches of data, where, like we mentioned, transformers tend to overfit and hallucinate. Smooth optimization surface. When we are performing gradient ascent on inputs, LSTMs produce smoother loss landscapes. This leads to stable convergence in optimize for max yield variable, avoiding the gradient spikes common in attention-based models as transformers. We also have impulse integration because, like we mentioned, the actual gas flow is on injections. We have flows of gas for separate for a specific time frame. It's not a constant flow of deuterium gas. So our proposed architecture, it consists of two parallel networks that have been merged together. One of them represents the input parameters, the different features that we have. And the other one is related to the actual impulses, to the actual reactions, one could say. We are merging them all together in a different neural network that would ultimately give us the optimal input parameters. So what exactly this multi-path architecture represents? Like we mentioned, we have a OSDM network that captures sequential dependencies and yes, and in reactor state evolution and so on. Also, the process of discrete injection event in impulse, where we use dense layer and polling. We are merging them all together in a separate dense network layer, where we ultimately predict the optimal input parameters. We have optimization routines. The traditional one that uses HGD, stochastic gradient descent, that help us find the optimal parameters based on the data that we use to train our network. The optimized for max yield, that's our main goal, to find the maximum temperature yield. And find best starting conditions for a fixed injection pattern. In our yield optimization, we do have our our main objective, which is to find the maximal temperature yield, which is final predicted minus initial temperature. And also we are using smoothness regulation that prevents physically impossible parameter occurrences in our data sets, and binary injection constraint that it constrains the actual injection to the gas flow. So we have gas, so we have injection of deuterium on actual reaction, or we don't. And here you can see that was trained with relatively small data. You can see the sequence optimization history for the whole data set, for the whole sequence, and how with every iteration it becomes better and better. But for the initial values, because the number of values is relatively so, we have a big spike just in the beginning and not so much of improvement. Our goal is to have like at least 2 million rows of data, most of them synthetic simulated one, in order to have a better prediction. Possible extensions and new applications that could be used in this case. And just to mention, the data use is only related to Professor Alexandrov's experiments, and is related only to the reaction in constant wire. Possible extension is to gather and analyze data from XRD using AI machine learning during the actual process, so it could dynamically optimize the parameters that would find anomalies and probably give us the highest temperature yield. We could also gather the data from the RGA. We have that data, but we at least in the networks we are currently trying to develop, we don't use it, but in future, yeah, that could be mapped to the data we have from the reactor itself. That could be helpful to analyze all together. And yeah, in future, using LLMs that were trained with scientific data, as we saw today's earlier, our colleagues showed us that's something that could be useful and used with the current data we have. And of course, in a future reactor, AI could be used to determine status and future health of the equipment. AI should promise in advancing cleaner. The field is still evolving, but AI could play a crucial role in demystifying cleaner and scientific progress, and hopefully not only scientific. Thank you a lot.
So the session is open for questions. Is there any question?
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for the presentation. How fast does your system run from the time you want an update to you get the update? Is it a small fraction of a second or much longer?
For now, we haven't implemented it in real time, if that's your question. But for future implementation, we could make the inference working for a fraction of a second.
Okay.
But now I don't think it would be that fast, and we are working only on in historical data. It's not working on a real time.
Right, but the potential there is for real time.
Yes,
use.
and that's the end goal.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you as well.
Any questions? Okay, thank you so much again.
Thank you.
And thank you very much. All right.